He has more experience than Karan. He's been rallying for a much longer time. And the rain basically just opens up the playing field. If today's your lucky day and it's raining, you end up on top. If it's not your lucky day, you end up wrapped around a tree. So let's see.
Yes, just remember that Karan Patel, last year, he came into the rally as the Kenya National Rally Champion. And at the end of the year, he was able to scoop the topmost award on the continent, became Africa Rally Champion. So he's now here as Africa Rally Champion. He's feeling the weight on his shoulders.
Yes.
So does that work for him or work against him? Do you think he's got the sort of mental stamina, given that he's still a young man in his 20s, to cope with this newfound pressure?
Oh, definitely. Karan is, in fact, he's actually a Red Bull competitor.
You know him in person?
Of course I know Karan. I know Karan and I know Tosif Khan, his navigator, very well. Those are my friends. And Karan is one of the guys I've watched come up, and you know, I always remind him he's one of the nice men of gentlemen of motorsports. And so Karan posts a lot on his social media, and a lot of the stuff he posts,
I follow him on Instagram.
is exercise. You've seen
6 in the morning.
Exactly.
He's at the gym 5, 6 in the morning.
So physical fitness, I think he's the top of his game, and I'm sure Tosif does the same. They demand the same high level performance from both of them, and they've been rallying since they were very young men. So they have a team. It's almost like Ott and Martin Yavayova.
Yes.
They have a working team. They do well together, and I think we'll be hearing the name of Karan and Tosif Khan for quite some time. They are doing well, and I think he'll handle whatever pressure comes. He's been through tough times. There's a year that Karan used to crash quite a lot. And I think every driver has that year.
Problems, yeah.
You're young, you're hot. Yeah, you're young, you're hot. But what is the measure of a champion is be able to pick yourself up from those kind of setbacks and realize, fine, I can't drive beyond this line, but I can surely drive up to this line. And I think Karan has learned where that line of his is, and he's fast, he's quick. He's quick and he's clean. So I think even this year, if he does a full campaign in Kenya National Rally Championship, he'll be a difficult customer to beat.
He's really active on social media.
He is. He's a young man.
Especially on Instagram.
Yeah.
I don't know about Facebook and all, but Instagram, his feed is just always pop. And he starts his daily with the gym, as you said.
You know, like we were saying earlier, sisi ni watu wa VOK. You know, our social media was VOK.
That's what I was saying yesterday.
Yeah. These young people, they communicate on all sorts of channels. So of course, the younger they are, the more they are on social media.
Yeah.
But that's the way he communicates with his constituency, his fans.
Yes. And who's that baby he's always playing around with?
I think it's his kid, I'm not sure.
No, he's an African child.
We'd have to ask him.
Okay. He's made that kid famous
we'd have to ask
from a very early age.
Yeah, we'd have to ask him who that was. But
the little baby's a celeb.
Yeah, he's a good man. He's a gentleman, genuinely humble guy. He realizes what he has on his shoulders.
Yeah.
He's aware of the sacrifices especially his father has made. So humility in a young rally driver is not a very common thing, but it's a very good thing. It bodes you well.
You say a lot of rally drivers, especially the young ones, egoistic?
Of course, you know, when you are young, you have been given a powerful machine, you are driving well, there are fans cheering for you. It can go to your head. So it's good to be grounded. It's good to understand, and especially a rally car. It's important to be humble, so that you realize your limits. You know, when you're full of yourself and you think the world is at your feet, that's when you make big mistakes. That's when you do things that you shouldn't have done. So it's important to be humble, even given those powerful tools that you have, and that bodes well in rally. And Karan has that quality. He knows where to stop, what line not to cross. He's aware of what sacrifices have been made. He's a humble guy, like I say.
So his dad has given him
full
support.
By the time you're a young person, like I told you, rallying in Kenya is a amateur sport. So if you're a young person, it means your family are financing you. And it's not a cheap sport to finance. Yeah. So, but Karan is very aware of it. He's lucky he has picked up some sponsorships from like Red Bull. He's actually a Red Bull recognized sports personality from Kenya.
He takes that before hitting the gym.
Exactly.
Yeah, I see that a lot on Instagram.
I think if Karan had a good program and good support in place, the sky would be the limit. Yeah, the sky would be the limit.
He's got that WRC1 potential.
Oh yeah.
How many years would you give him to hit those those ranks of
Well,
WRC?
you know, WRC, it's not about even the time that you can get
I mean,
there. It's whether the path is there. Yeah?
Okay.
The path is very key. But he's in the right vehicle, he's in the right sport, he's in the right place, and who knows? Who knows?
Wow. I saw him drive himself to Uganda.
Yeah.
That's where he won the African Rally Championship. And it was like a road trip. He gets into his vehicle, his personal vehicle with his co-driver, I believe. And that's, just drove. And
that's what I'm saying, part of the humility, you know. Other people would fly. Other people would fly. It's not that he can't afford to fly.
Yes.
But that camaraderie that is created in that long drive, that tour in the countryside, that connecting yourself with where you are, that's not a quality a lot of guys have. A lot of guys want to fly there, jump in the car at the last minute, get out of there. But the fact that he's part of the team, he wants to be involved, you know, he wants to, you know, be involved even in the difficult stuff of driving, because I can imagine towing a rally car to Uganda is not an easy job. So that's the stuff that builds character in a young man.
Okay.
Yeah.
Isaac Lemoka, our humble guy in Naivasha, what's happening? Let's find out.
So, Dakta, asante sana. Tunakujia moja kwa moja kutoka mjini Naivasha ambapo mashindano ya WRC makala ya 72 yanaandaliwa hapa mjini Naivasha. Leo hii ikiwa ni siku ya Saturday, ukipenda siku ya Jumamosi, ni siku ambayo madereva wanakwenda kule Soisambu, watakuwa Sleeping Warrior, alafu wamalizie Elementaita kabla ya vituo vingine ambavyo vitafanyika hiyo kesho huko Malewa, Oserian, halikadhalika Hales Gate. Hapa nimesimama, nipo katika kituo cha stoppage time, na hapa ni mambo machache ambayo yanafanyika. Kumbuka, madereva wanapotoka katika vituo kupishana wanafika hapa, kisha baadaye wanaweza kutangamana na mashabiki zao, alafu wanatoa saini ama ukipenda sahihi za kumbukumbu, zile autograph pia zinakuja zinapigwa saini hapa, alafu wanatoka wanaelekea service park kule ambapo magari yao yatafanyiwa uchunguzi, kama yameharibiwa, kama yamefanyiwa nini na nini, yatakuwa yanafanyiwa service park. Lakini pia hapa katika eneo hili ambapo tumesimama katika Buffalo Mall, pia kuna shughuli nyingi ambazo zinaendelea. Kuna kambi ya matibabu ambayo imewekwa hapa, kuna baadhi ya makampuni, kuna baadhi ya mashirika, kuna baadhi ya wizara ambayo yamefika hapa, na moja kati ya wale ambao wamefika hapa, unakumbuka Brand Kenya? Walibadilisha jina, na ninasimama hapa, niko naye Joan Wanjala kutokea Brand Kenya. Kama nimekosea utaniambia, sio?
Asante sana. Tunaitwa Kenya Export Promotion and Branding Agency. We actually formally Brand Kenya board. So we are here because this is a marketing agency for the country. We are here because this is a marketing opportunity for this country. Kenya actually, the reason why we are here on the ground is because we want to market the country holistically through sports. So we want Kenya to be known as a sporting hub in Africa. And we are here to also show the world that Kenya is ready to trade, that Kenya is ready for tourism, that Kenya has also beautiful products like tea and coffee and exports. So the reason why we are here is because we want to stand with our drivers, both international and local. We want them to be our brand ambassadors as Kenya, because this is an opportunity for us to shine to the world.
What have you done for the drivers, for them to be your brand ambassadors?
Yes, so for example, especially for our international participants, so when they come here at the autograph area, we've been giving them an opportunity to even interact with the citizens who are the greatest ambassadors for the country. We've also been giving them a piece of Kenya. That is, we've been giving them some gift packs that contain some tea, some coffee, because we want them, even as they go to their countries, they remember Kenya in a beautiful way, so that they can also be our brand ambassadors for our products, for our key products, that is tea and coffee. Yeah.
And for our local drivers, what is at stake for them?
We have a lot in store for them. Actually, as an agency, we have an ongoing program called the Brand Ambassadors Program. So the reason actually why we want to look at sporting as one of the ways to promote the country is that we want to incorporate all the, like for example, our local drivers. We want them to be a part of our brand ambassadors, so that anytime they're even racing in other countries, they carry the flag Kenya. So we want to incorporate them to ambassadors program that we are running as an agency.
I'll speak to the fans of Rally all over Kenya. They are watching you.
All right, my fans, Kenya, we are happy that we are hosting this rally, this championship. We are happy that it came to Kenya actually, and we want you to make it Kenya. We want you to choose Kenya. We want you to come celebrate with us, especially now that tomorrow is the last day. Let's come and wave our flag high because this is the opportunity for us to shine as a country.
Sadakta, asante sana. Joan Wanjala huyo kutokea Brand Kenya. Oh, tena nimeisema. Brand. Lakini hata hivyo asante sana, ni moja kati ya institutions ambazo zinafanya hima na zinajitahidi kabisa kuona kwamba Brand Kenya, yani Kenya kama taifa inafanya vizuri sana katika mataifa ya kigeni, na mazao na bidhaa ambazo zinatoka taifa la Kenya pia zinaweza kufaidi ulimwengu. Shukrani sana moja kwa moja kutoka eneo hili la Naivasha. Mimi ni Isaac Lemoka.
Wonderful stuff. Asante sana Isaac Lemoka, tunashukuru sana pia maono ya mwanadada wetu pale Brand Kenya ambayo sasa imebadilisha jina na tumeambiwa hapo inafanya vizuri kuuza nchi yetu mbali sana. Kego, earlier we were talking with you about the financial aspect, the sale aspect of this kind of event that it gives our country, that scope. And you can see there it's been illustrated by the lady John, and she's really done her best to market Kenya. She's well branded, and they've branded Lemoka as well. Yeah. So it's big bucks.
Yes. You know, it's good, and it should be like that they use this event to market Kenya, because you know, let's face it, unless we tell the world why we believe this is the best place in the world, they won't know. So when they are watching us because of Rally, tell them why Kenya is the place to be. And so, well done, you know, the group there, well done to everybody involved, and keep doing it. Let's keep the safari here so more and more can be heard about Kenya.
And you see how young the lady is. A lot of young guys, you'd spoken about the change of guard, yeah. Young guys coming on. And there's a lot of such stalls under the Talanta Hela initiative.
Yeah, very.
Out there, yeah, like we saw last year.
Yeah.
And it's awesome. It gives young guys that opportunity to also, as they enjoy the rally, they make money out of it. So it's changed the rallying experience from you just going to spend money, but you get an opportunity also to make money off it.
Very commendable. And all the events all over the world are like this. You know, the country benefits directly and indirectly. You know, the people there benefit directly and indirectly. So Safari, as much as is about the rallying, there's a whole ecosystem around it that we need to sort of take as much as we can from. And the bigger and better it becomes, you know, the better for the country. There's talk of the venue changing. There was some debate last year as to whether the event could be run, because, you know, Kenya is not just Naivasha. You know, we've got Nanyuki, which can run a WRC event easily. We've got Mombasa, can run a WRC event easily. And those are places that have something to offer, even globally. So who knows, maybe, you know, next year or the year after, if plans are well made, maybe Safari could move to another region of the country.
Naivasha,
of course, won't like it, but
they do. Yes, they won't like it. I remember the debate.
But this is a cake we can all share. You know, it's a big cake. Let's all share. So Naivasha has had it for 3 years. I would not be averse to Safari going even to, you know, the coast. You know, go down to the coastal region. There's a huge potential down there for farming, for whatever, and showcase it. Make people eyeballs on the product. And,
because these are the same routes of last year.
Of course.
The monotony.
Of course, it's monotonous, but this is rallying today. All rallies globally, the rallies are run on the same routes. They don't change them.
Yes.
Because these are the routes that they rally on.
So shall we be able to change them, say, if another counties are given the chance to do so?
Well, last year the president put in a request for the date to change. You remember Safari was held in June?
Yes, yes.
They made a request that we need the Safari to come back to its usual April date.
Yes.
And that request was done.
Yes.
You know, there's an old saying, I won't say who said it, but they talk about a Mugumo tree being cut with a razor blade. If you put in the request, they might not make it happen immediately, but it's now been considered.
Yes.
And if it's considered, who knows, in 1 or 2 years it can come to fruition.
Yes.
Nanyuki is an amazing part of this country. You could easily rally around the farms there, you know, with the backdrop of Mount Kenya. You could easily rally in Western Kenya in Iten area. You know, you could easily rally in Voi. I mean, and this KNRC actually does events there. So it wouldn't be impossible to do it. The challenge they have usually is they need to count the hotel rooms available. And that's one of the arguments that has gone against Nanyuki, which I don't think holds water, because the greater Nanyuki includes Nyeri. You know, and Nyeri and, you know, the little towns around there all have hotels. And Nanyuki has some of the best hotels in this country, you know, places to stay. So I think they have the right amount of rooms to stay around Nanyuki. Mombasa, that argument also doesn't hold water. The whole coast is a hotel. So who knows? The committee that puts the rally together, they could decide next year, let's take it somewhere else, let's mix it up a bit. And why not? It's been done in other countries. They change sometimes the towns.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, so why not? Here we have a big, beautiful country and lots of space.
Yes.
And lots of things we want to show. So who knows? There has been talk about Nanyuki. I think if it does leave Naivasha in the near future, I would put my money on Nanyuki.
And it would be good for us who are watching to see the drivers experience
in a different
location, not what they are now growing used to.
Exactly.
And like you said, the Soisambu area, that's Carl Tundo's stomping ground. Now take him elsewhere, even though he knows the KNRC circuit pretty well. But I mean, take him and the rest of them elsewhere, and throw them out to the wild and there test them proper.
When we were outside the WRC, we did a safari. I took part in a safari that was centered around Mount Kenya, and they, for that year, decided that they were going to take away the rule of the service park. So it was a throwback to the old safari where you are allowed to service anywhere. So you made plans with your service crew to catch you wherever you are. And that rally ran very successfully. It ran, we ran in there's a farm up there. We ran in Meru, in the KWS forest. We ran in wheat fields, I think is a big wheat farm. And yeah, and it ran very well. And so if they decided to put a safari in Nanyuki, there is the space, there is the personnel, there are the hotels, and I think it would be beautiful.
And you mentioned Meru, the Timau area.
Exactly. Timau is where we rallied, actually, in the wheat farms,
Yes.
Yeah. Very, very scenic, very beautiful.
Very beautiful.
Yeah. And also presents another aspect because it's higher altitude.
Yes.
And these are combustion cars, internal combustion cars. So what does that do with their power? It drops their power because there's less oxygen up there. So maybe that plays a role and maybe plays a, throws another spanner in the works of the whole rally. So I know there's definitely been some discussion about Nanyuki. Whether it's solid yet, I don't know. But there are people who are saying that, Kenya is big,
Yes.
Let's take it around the country.
And also in terms of branding, it sells our country spectacularly.
Exactly, completely.
People are able to see that what the magical Kenya crew of Daudi Kanja and Topi Liambila have been talking of. They see the beauty, the diversity in the beauty of our country.
Exactly.
And how accommodative it is for such rally events to take place.
We've done a rally in Ahero. Ahero is a fantastic region of this country. The cane fields. I mean, you rally through there, and if you told somebody that was Colombia, they'll believe you, because it's miles and miles of sugar cane, very beautiful. Safari could go there. There are enough hotels in that region.
Yes.
So there needs to be some thinking around where you take this event, because it's a national event. It doesn't belong to one part of the country. Let's take it around the country. Let's mix and match it. Of course, it takes a lot of effort, logistics, but it can be done. A good idea always starts with a thought, and people have been thinking about Nanyuki. So let's see, maybe in another 2 years, if everybody agrees and it's feasible, cars could go to Nanyuki.
And also now that you mentioned the coastal part of Kenya being a potential venue, and the weather there is now a complete opportunity.
To Malindi has been made. It's tarmac. So the song now is no longer applied. Safari ya Bamba sio mbaya. It's now the road is Nywe. So, but beyond Bamba, it's a all open country. There are lots of beautiful rally roads there. It would take focus to that region. That region still has a lot of need. And in the south coast around Diani.
That's what I was coming to.
Yeah, around we rallied near the Mwaluganja Elephant Project down there. But that was many years ago, and the roots are there. Mombasa has a very vibrant motorsport club led by one Roy Mackenzie and Falgun, and they hold a very vibrant motorsport championship. They even have an internal club championship, which is, I think they're the most active sort of motorsport club in Kenya. So if you give those guys the work and told them, find us a safari route, I mean, they'd do it within no time. Because I'm sure they already have the routes, they know the routes.
And how much would the climate impact on the event? The drivers, guys come from very cold areas in Europe, and now here you're throwing them into Diani, which is pretty hot.
We rallied there in January 1 year, where the KNRC had sort of, the last event had not been done. Mombasa traditionally is the last event of the year. So for some reason that rally didn't take place. So they held it in early January to compensate for the year before.
Which was proper hot.
It was, meaning that car was like, it was like you were being cooked alive.
Yes.
In fact, we would have to ask for some dispensation for them to allow us to rally in shorts and other things, because it was completely like an oven. But people rallied and we finished, and as soon as we got to the service park, people would strip, you know, and they'd give you water to drink, but you'd be pouring it down yourself because it was incredibly hot. So that would come into play also, depending on when they run the event. But
and this clothing of theirs.
Oh yeah, and it's very heavy.
It's very heavy. Yeah, it would be quite a challenge.
There's a rally where we actually got dispensation that we didn't have to come with our suits at the Parc Fermé. You know, Parc Fermé is the rally has started. But I remember in Mombasa 1 year, kudos to Roy Mackenzie, he allowed us to come to the Parc Fermé just in our normal clothes and get kitted up before you rallied, so that at least you aren't hanging around in your suit in that temperature, yeah? But when it was rally time, when you got in 10 minutes to get into your car, then you would kit it up completely, and then you were flagged off. Because in that rally suit, 3-layer rally suit, 1-layer rally underwear, you're just losing water, you know, you're losing water.
But the vehicles perform better because...
Oh yeah, high oxygen at the sea level. A lot of fun. Mombasa rallying is very nice. We enjoy it. Although we say there, people become superstitious, and you dare not hit even a kifaranga. So they say if you hit a kifaranga yenyewe, you're not going to the end of the rally. So you have to do what you can, whether you are going at 200. If you see a kifaranga on the road, you have to avoid it.
Has anyone ever done so and not finished the rally?
Rallying happens. I mean,
not finished the rally?
Well, I don't know the statistic, but usually when you hit something, you don't finish. You don't finish.
So it's just superstition?
It's superstition, yeah, but you know also that plays in your mind, yeah?
It does.
You're thinking that I don't want to hit something.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah. In case this superstition is real.
Yes. So you say the vehicles perform better in that kind of climate.
Yeah.
So we'd expect a faster course.
Oh, yes.
As opposed to in Timau, for example.
Yes. Cars behave better. They are more responsive. It's a bit different. You have to modify your driving slightly a bit. And I can imagine at the top level it would be even more so. So it would be interesting. But, you know, WRC in Mombasa is still quite a far-off idea.
Yes.
Of course, I'm sure the people down there and the clubs and the fans and basically the industry down there would be very happy to have it.
Why don't you talk to your friends and tell them to put in a proposal
that is
to the relevant authority who can then pick it up from there?
Yeah, the LOC, the local organizing committee, are the ones who can make a decision. I guess the Motorsport Council maybe can also make suggestions. But at the end of the day, you know, Safari is almost an entity by itself. And Safari decides the way they are going. But they take suggestions, they are very open to suggestion, and any suggestion that hopes or endeavors to make this a better thing, and I'm sure is okay.
That's brilliant. Now, no disrespect to navigation, you are a navigator as it is. Have you never thought of driving, becoming a rally driver yourself?
Of course, we say navigators are better drivers than drivers, just that we can't afford to be in the driving seat. You see, when you're rallying in a self-sponsored, the person who buys the car is the one who drives. Unless you have a very magnanimous driver who tells you, I'm buying this car, then you drive. We all want to drive, but if you can't afford it, then this is the second best seat, yeah?
Yes.
If he falls sick, maybe I might be able to drive to the end of the stage.
Yes.
So, of course, we all say navigators make better drivers than drivers.
Why?
First of all, we understand the notes better, yeah? We understand that when I call the note, I understand it better. And maybe, of course, a bit egotistically, maybe we think we are better than the drivers. So maybe one day they should organize a rally where the drivers drive one stage and the navigators another stage. Then we can make that decision as to that argument.
Yeah. But do you think you have what it takes potentially based on your navigation experience, to be a really, really good driver? Forget about the ego, Kego. Now let's talk realistically.
Maybe 30 years ago, maybe, but right now I'm a mzee bana. You know, I'm an elder statesman. I've handed over. I'm here to help the
Still,
transition.
you can do one rally, can't you?
Of course, we might do a rally here and there, but this is the age of the Patels.
Potentially, from the experience you have gained, you want to tell me, Kego, you can't do something spectacular?
Well, I don't know about spectacular, but of course I will jump at the offer if it ever came. But I mean, one must also accept their situation.
Okay.
And motorsport is a young game. It's a young game. It's the Wahomes and the Karans, the Saman Boras. This is their age. These are the guys we need to support. These are the guys we need to nurture.
So that's why guys like Patrick Njiru left the floor.
Oh yeah. Patrick was great for a long time, but when the time comes, you must hand over. You know, life is much like a successful life and successful rallying is much like running a relay. Okay. You know, if there are 4 runners, one runner can't run the whole race. You must come to a point where it's time to hand over. And you handing over, even that handing over it's a very intricate and very, a system that must work.
And what makes one decide, okay, now, generally speaking, because everyone's case is unique, but just generally speaking, you have to generalize it, what would influence you now as a rally driver to say, okay, I feel it's time for me to retire? You know, in other sports it's easier because you run, you feel, I can't. But in rallying, you sit down, you drive. What really?
It depends. At the professional game, at the top of the game, you know, for us it's an amateur sport, so our decisions are largely based on financing. Yeah.
Yes.
If it's getting to the point where you're getting diminishing returns and more cost, you're like, you know, really, it's time to. But at the top of the game, I mean, there are people like Sebastian Loeb who are still doing selected events because he's still so good. You know, we have Sebastian Ogier who is still doing selected events because they are so good. And so I guess it's down to you as the individual, you as the team, decide that he's getting to this age, you know, giving him a car for this particular event represents this amount of investment. Are we going to get returns on this investment? Is he going to get returns on this investment? So there are a lot of things to consider.
Oh, so there are external factors
exactly.
that come into.
And when you're 8-time champion, I think OJ is 8-time champion, what then motivates you after that? You know, you are the top of the game. And you're getting older. You know, they say it's good to leave the party when you're on top, yeah? Leave the game when you're on top.
Yes.
Don't be dragged out kicking when you're old and grey.
But Kala is a young guy and he's now doing selective rallies.
Yeah.
What has influenced him at that young age?
I think also that is a bit to do with where the sport is currently. You know, we don't have that many manufacturers. And as much as it's good for Toyota, one mark dominating the sport is not a very good thing. It also demoralizes others. It makes the interest towards the sport slightly less. So maybe Kale decided, you know, his game right now is completely, I think we're in the age of Kale. There's Kale and there's everybody else.
It's his era.
And so, is that good for the sport? I don't know. Is it, if he stays long term in this, he gets to a point where who's going to remove him, you know? Very difficult. So maybe a bit of balance, take it easy 1 year, give guys maybe some time to catch up, and then see. So where the sport is, the interest, investment, are we getting returns on this? All determine as to where guys are, basically. Okay,
and for a navigator, is there like a sort of quote-unquote age cap when you feel, that my body is refusing, or navigators have a longer lifespan than drivers, as it
generally,
were?
If you're still fit and in good shape, navigators, I think, can probably navigate longer than drivers can sit. It's at least a little less more physical, a bit more cerebral, a bit more using your mind.
Yes.
So there's a bit less battering to the body.
Yes.
But generally speaking, people exit when they feel the time is right. It's not. I can't say there's a fixed time that you feel that, you know, people leave at 40, 50. People leave. Some guys have navigated into their. I mean, there's the ALS crew. You know, I think they are both in their 70s. You know, and they competitively rally in Kenya in a classic car. You know, Aslam Khan and Ashad Khan. So If it's still working for you, you're still getting something out of it. In fact, we had this conversation with my driver yesterday, Leo, and we were saying, you know, people, especially who are in, it's not professional, amateur sport, we all get something different from rallying. Somebody wants to come number one, others just want to be in that car, others like the camaraderie around it, you know, the razzmatazz around it. So not everybody is getting the same thing out of it. And so you find that those who want to be number one, once they start stopping to be number one, they want to get out of it. Those who like rallying, the camaraderie around it, they can stay even until they are, you know, there's a famous quote of, I think was, who? He was saying that even if it takes him until he's getting in the car with a walking stick, he wants to win the safari, you know. So it just depends on you as an individual, I think.
Earlier, you had noticed that the routes have sort of been changed for this rally, sort of last minute.
Oh, yeah, well, there was a complaint.
How has that, how has that affected?
Of course, from the crew's point of view, that is completely out of order. It's not, it should not do that. Once we recce the route, we assume that the route should remain the same, unless the stewards provide a bulletin notifying us that the route has changed at page this or that.
Yes.
Now, we saw some of the drivers complaining that it seems the route had changed. I don't know, I don't want to comment as to what or why. It could be any number of things. Like I was saying, so organizing the safari is like, you know, it's one big thing with thousands of moving parts. You know, whether all those moving parts are moving in unison, you know, is anybody's guess. So could have been maybe a marshal made a mistake, could have been the wrong message appeared somewhere. But generally the rule is that the route does not change from recce unless it's bulletined from the stewards. And they usually send a bulletin, and the bulletin is numbered, bulletin 1, 2, 3, whatever, of date, and it's signed. And they usually say, on page this and this of the road book, instead of turning left, turn right. But you can't change the route. It's not the done thing to change the route without issuing a bulletin. Because then the drivers are assuming, for example, if the change in the route was, instead of straight on, it's sharp left, yeah? Drivers know it's straight on, max. And then I come there and I find a sharp left. Of course, you understand what would happen. So routes are not changed after the recce unless they are bulletined. So maybe there was some, I don't know. Maybe,
so that has impacted this rally?
Of course, of course. The first stage, they seem to have had an issue. Could be any sort of thing. Maybe a tree fell down. Maybe a new hole appeared. And so there were... But even in that case, because the stewards operate 24 hours, stewards can send you a bulletin even at 3 a.m. So I would be surprised, or I would be interested to know what happened there. Was there an oversight? Was there something that was unavoidable? Because also the change of route could be a safety precaution, yeah? Maybe there's a hole that has appeared. Maybe a tree has fallen. Or maybe some other blockage that maybe the marshal on site has decided to try and divert you around. But you on your notes, you know it was straight. So you approach there fast and you find a corner, which it unsettles you, of course, as a crew. But any change of route, the route can't change even after recce, but they definitely bulletin it, and they bulletin it before you start the event, so that you amend your notes, you are aware that here where we had put straight on, we are turning left, then right. We are going around something, let's say. Yeah.
So potentially, could this bring issues?
Well, I think ideally what would happen is the stewards would look at it. If there are complaints, you know, you have to complain, eh?
Yes.
If you are a crew who feels aggrieved, you must write a complaint, official complaint to
yes, those are the issues I'm
stewards.
talking of, yes.
Now, the stewards can look at it, and if that complaint has been replicated by, let's say, 3 or 4 crew, they can decide to make a decision. And maybe the decision might be, based on what you have said, we deem that you have lost 10 seconds or 20 seconds, we give you back your 20 seconds. So we chop your time in 20 seconds. So the stewards, that's their work. Their work is to make decisions as the event goes on. Generally, a change of route after the recce without a bulletin is a disaster, yeah, because the whole idea of rallying is navigating this course fast, safely, with prior knowledge where you're going. So if they make a change in the route, of course, it's not something anybody would be happy with.
So how soon do you think the drivers were notified of the change of route?
Well, I think we saw that complaint from Noivelle and from Katsuta. Evans didn't talk about it much. He said there were some rocks in the road. I'm suspecting that maybe what they used to change the direction of the road were rocks, which again is very, it's not the best, you know what I mean? But
it's not compelling enough.
it's not the best, because if you're trying to make a car go left where it was going straight, and you're using rocks, and the guy maybe is too late to see those rocks, what happens? He runs over the rocks and bangs up his car. So I'll wait to hear what the incident was about and what happened. But as soon as the report came from Noivelle, I'm sure the stewards had sat down, called whoever is relevant. Every stage has what is called, has a hierarchy of officials. There's somebody called stage commander.
Okay.
He's the first person who would have been called by the stewards to ask, what is the issue here? Yeah? Stage commander, maybe that's the first he has heard of it, unless he's watching the video. So he would call his marshal on site at that stage and ask them, what's up? Have you guys, is there any issue? Unless, of course, he's aware and would report to the stewards, we have had to do ABC because this happened. So I'm sure they're on top of it. Even by the time those guys were finishing the loop, either the stones have been removed, either the note has been amended, either people have received their time. Basically, they have made some changes, I'm assuming.
Wow.
Yeah.
So you get to be notified how soon before you go into that stage?
Exactly.
There's changes.
Exactly. Then part of that work of the navigator is to keep your eyes on the grapevine. During the KNRC, we actually have the user. There's an app they use. There's an app they use, and earlier they used to use a WhatsApp group.
Okay.
So what they do, all the navigators and drivers and team managers are on this WhatsApp group. So any bulletin, which ideally is supposed to be mailed out or put on a notice board.
Okay.
Yeah.
Ah, brilliant. I get. Wow. Controversy. Now, as things stand, as we head into the afternoon session of today's rallying, Kala Rovanpera sits at the top. He's top placed. Takamoto Katsuta is second placed. He's doing pretty well. And you've got, you've got Thierry Neuville, who's actually in second place. They've swapped places with Katsuta, who's in third place. Formo is in fourth place, and then Evans is in fifth place. Elfin Evans. This rallying is just as crazy as it gets. At least last year you could sort of see where it was taking you, but this year the door has been opened wide. What we started with in the morning is totally different from what we have right now, apart from up right there at the top where Kala Rovanpera has clung to top spot. We've been discussing this with Kego. He said that he wanted to see Hyundai break the Toyota influence, and Hyundai at that time stood pretty much no chance. And then all of a sudden, by lunch break, Hyundai were in second position. So they're looking like they can sort of go against the odds and win this particular rally, snatch it from Toyota's jaws. Well, there's only one way for you to find out if this is going to be the turnout of the rally itself. And the best way to do so, if you're not in Naivasha following events firsthand, is tuning in to KBC Channel 1, your true sports partner. We'll take you there. We'll give you every bit of the action that we can manage to give and make sure that you get everything live and exclusively free. See you later on in the afternoon. Keep it Channel 1.
The Kenya National Qualifications Authority helps in coordinating and harmonizing education, training, assessment.
Who does Elvin Evans? So Sunday, whew, it's going to be exciting.
Yeah, I think Elvin will be doing everything he can to ring in Adrian Formeau and I this afternoon. But yeah, there's no question, you're right. As a result of the new point structure on Sunday, Oitanak and Esa-Pekka Lappi will be going flat out with different jobs. Esa-Pekka Lappi will be going flat out to try and take points away from the regulars like Elvin Evans and those guys. And Oitanak will be trying to pick up as many points as the championship because he's doing a full campaign.
Yeah, indeed. All right. Well, we are going to try and hot-foot it over to Toyota. I think it'll be more wet-footed than anything. But in the meantime, let's listen into that interview with Kalle Rothenperä.
Kalle, if you had to sum up the stages this morning, the three that you've been through, with just one word, what would it be?
Difficult.
Difficult. It has been, hasn't it? Changeable conditions. You've had dry, you've had wet out there. What have you thought of it all?
Yeah, it's difficult. I would say the first two ones were a bit more clear. Of course, there was a lot of cutting and stuff like this. I was not really taking a lot of risk on there, not even in the cuts. So I would say quite steady pace from us, taking a bit of risk out on the rough places, and everything will work quite well.
You had a really brilliant pass-through on Sleeping Warrior where others were falling by the wayside with tyre damage or whatever dramas. What was so special on Sleeping Warrior for you? Was it just what you described, just staying out of trouble and knowing where to push?
Yeah, I would say I felt that I was driving quite fast always when the condition was good, even in the mud, and then yeah, when it was rough, I
don't know.
Sector of the stage, or where the mud certainly came in and the standing water. How tricky was that for you?
It's always tricky here. You can have big puddles where you really don't even steer the car anymore and stuff like that. So you just try to manage through them. So yeah, it can be an interesting afternoon if the rain comes.
Well, if it's been difficult this morning, I can't wait to hear the words you're going to use to describe this afternoon, because conditions are set to change from what we hear.
Yeah, let's say our position is at the moment pretty good, so normally I like the rain, but now I could drive without it.
So you're not doing any rain?
Jenny, you seem to be the only person responsible for this rain, then no one else is doing a rain dance.
I'll bring it on. I think it's good. I think this is good for the sport. It's good for everybody.
It's not good for my hair, just in case anyone was really concerned about that.
Yeah, look, your hair aside, I think it's in the works. Although that being said, from what we know from what Seb Marshall was saying, is it's still bone dry out on the stages.
Yeah, indeed. All right, well, there is so much water behind, and you know, in M Sport particularly, it seemed like they were in just a little bit of a curve in there. They were sort of mopping up the water as they were going, same as they are doing here. A little bit more shelter just here at Toyota, but there we go. The mops,
yeah.
The mops
even Jari-Matti Latvala are getting stuck in there. Go on, Jari-Matti. You're doing a great job. Stick at it. Yeah, team player.
Yeah, Jari does like getting stuck in, doesn't he? Fantastic, amazing that. But it is, to be honest, that is the one thing that we'll take away from Safari Rally Kenya every single year that we come here. This is a full-on team effort from Sebastian Ogier doing repairs on his car, I think, to Esa-Pekka Lappi, also doing that last year, to Jari-Matti Latvala getting involved. This is, every single man has got a job.
You're absolutely right, you know, and it's, you're only as good as your weakest man, and that's how a race or a rally team works, isn't it? Well, it's true, you know, so, you know, it's all about having the right people around you and good morale within the team and everybody working together and enjoying it. And we say in the commentary, it's not just the drivers who've got to enjoy the rally, and everybody here has to enjoy it and pull together and be a team. And the thing as well I really love about Safari Rally Kenya are the inconsistencies, you know, not just out on the stage, the weather, it's a different, everybody using tents, different setups here. This isn't the traditional European
this is a long haul setup,
yes,
basically.
Exactly.
So it's sort of lighter.
Haul,
unfortunately for all the teams, it's a lighter tent setup, which does mean when the heavens open, it's not the most amazing place to be.
It's all just a little bit. It's all just a little bit tighter and everything else. So yeah, it's just brilliant. I think it's great.
All right. Well, of course, Media Zone happened a bit earlier on. The weather was a lot different about half an hour ago. We are still getting information in that it is dry on the stages. Now that's Evans coming into the media zone. That's just the damage that we've seen from those punctures. Jenny, again, we talk a lot about cosmetics, but Scott, obviously taking those pictures just to give a heads up to mechanics.
Yeah, he'd just be taking photographs, be passing that on to engineers and everybody else too. And I think that's actually in the regroup, the parc fermé zone, if you like, where the guys can't touch the cars, the mechanics can't come and touch the cars before they come into the media zone. So they'll just be passing that on to the team. But I don't really think there was a great deal of damage to the corner of Elvin's car. I think it was mainly cosmetic, but unfortunately those two punctures have really stalled his progress this weekend.
Yeah, I mean it's a big gap, but I think we've really just got to focus on the fact that this afternoon could change everything on its head. I mean, when we went out this morning, Thierry was in a very different position to where he was. Elvin was looking very strong. It's changed so quickly for Elvin twice. It could change again in the right way.
Yeah, you're 100% right, and you know, I actually feel a bit bad saying, oh, you know, it's been difficult on Elvin and this, that, and the other, because anything can happen. Yeah. It's happened to Elvin this morning. Will it happen to Thierry Neuville this afternoon? Will it happen to Calais Taka? You can't answer it, and that's again one of the things that makes this rally so unique. You know, if we were somewhere else, you can kind of get a bit of a vibe. We all have that feeling in the pit of our stomachs. This is going to stay the way that it is, but here, no chance. Anything can still happen. And we're only halfway through the rally.
Yeah, indeed. All right, well, how's Elvin Evans feeling? Bex Williams found out.
Elvin, some disappointment out there this morning. Straight away, talk me through what went on the morning stages.
Yeah, not been a great morning at all. Of course, we had a puncture early on in the first stage of the loop. Not as sure why we got it. We just got an alarm on the dash, which was the first thing we knew about it, but hadn't felt anything at that stage. So we continued for a while before we were sure that it definitely was, and then we of course had to stop to change. It was so early in the stage. And yeah, in the middle stage, a lot of cuts changing, let's say, from the recce, and also had a herd of, is it a herd of zebras, you say, crossing?
That's a good question.
Well, it was about 20 of them anyway. And
let's call it a herd, shall we?
And there was the worst time of the stage they could have picked to do it right in the middle of a 600 or a 1 kilometre straight. So yeah, to go down to third gear there wasn't the best way, but yeah, and then of course the last one, another puncture, so it's not been a great morning.
It's not been the best of mornings, but as we know, it's Safari Rally, it can all change around, and this afternoon is the prime example potentially of that, because there is the major threat of rain. We've been talking about what it does to the surface here, but you're the man who knows the best, so tell us exactly
Why do I know the best?
Because you drive on it. Did you not do that this morning?
No.
Did my eyes deceive me?
It wasn't raining this morning.
But it was a little bit wet. You've driven in rain before?
A few times.
Don't be difficult.
I live in Wales.
But it's a little bit different here than, let's say, gravel rallies when we're in Europe. The surface here is different, so when it does rain, what happens?
I think it's the intensity that's the key factor, and of course the ground is so hard it just sits on the top until it has time to sink in. So of course then, even though we have a gravel tyre, the aquaplaning is crazy. So yeah, if it does rain, it's probably going to be very difficult. So
it could all change around this afternoon then. It's the opportunity maybe to make a difference in difficult conditions. Yeah, sure, and to try and get through it. It's a very fine balance to find.
Williams and the wildlife. Well, it can be called a dazzle of zebras as well as a herd of zebras. So I think a bit of Welsh wildlife descriptions was bang on there.
You just Googled that, didn't you?
Yeah, obviously. How would I know that?
Yeah, interesting what Elvin Evans was saying there as well, you know, and he certainly hasn't given up, and he understands the unpredictabilities that this rally can throw up. But like yesterday morning was a difficult morning for him, this morning probably even more so, and yeah, to drop from second to fifth, disappointing, but yeah. It's
so difficult each time to pick yourself back up, isn't it? Because you've had what you deem as bad luck. The luck swings in your favour, and then yet again it comes again. So now Elvin's back at that point. He's got to pick himself up. He's got to get back into the game and back into these next three stages and see what he can make of it.
Yeah, but you know, look, that's rallying at the end of the day.
That's life, isn't it?
Yeah, that's how it works. That's the sport. That's rallying, and you know, for Elvin and Scott, they just have to keep themselves together, keep their heads together, and go out and make the most of the package they've got underneath him, and hope and pray they don't come across any wild rocks or any more wildlife, and
there's plenty out there. That's
there is,
for sure.
Absolutely, but they've just got to hope and pray that they can maximise their opportunities this afternoon.
I think that's the name of the game, isn't it? Okay, well, we have got Taka with Bex Williams, who is still stuck in the media zone. If anyone wants to send some help down to her, but it is a Taka, yeah, maybe a boat, yeah, something like that, or a surfboard. I don't know, but anyway, she's with Taka right now.
Taka, it was a great battle this morning. Brilliant time on the opening stage from you to take the fastest time. Another great time on the next one, and then Sleeping Warrior, where everyone seemed to have an issue. Sleeping Warrior every year. What is it about that stage?
Yeah,
what was the challenge?
Stage itself is, of course, it's difficult, but the other two stages are also quite difficult. I think this year issue is that there was not clear places like uncut blocks. They put very random, and also which is very hidden, so you don't know where the rocks. So basically, everybody going like fifth gear, 140, 60 kph, going through the bushes. Then there is sometimes rocks, sometimes not. Then obviously I've got puncture, I hit something. There was nothing on the lecky, so I'm very surprised why there was a rock. So, but this can happen. I think everybody similar situation. So yeah, very unfortunate. But you need luck also this kind of race, or you need to be 1 minute slowing down then through the stage. Two options.
Yeah, it's really difficult. It's so unique here at the Safari Rally with what you have to do. Tell me what the plan is for this afternoon and what you're expecting from conditions on the second pass.
To be honest, I heard gonna be quite very different condition than this morning. So I think I'm pretty happy, to be honest, because I have still a chance to gain some position because of this condition. If I'm be smart without
or
problem.
brave?
No, I don't think brave it will work well.
No?
I learned from last year, so it's okay. I try to be smart and avoiding the mistakes this afternoon. I think this is a main thing, but still mistake can happen because conditions are horrible.
So you're hearing the rain is coming then?
I cannot say that, but yes, I think everybody expecting that.
Good luck this afternoon. Thank you, Taka.
Thank you.
Well, Taka may just be right about that. I think the rain is coming. Now, somebody just said the rain has stopped here. It hasn't. It might look like it has, but it hasn't. All right, just a few shots into sort of what goes on in between the stages.
Yeah, just Yonne getting a bit of physio from Dan, the Toyota physio. He's one of the best in the business, and that's so important. And then of course you can see Aaron Johnson, Kalle Rovanperä having a bit of lunch, and to the right of Aaron you've got Takamoto Katsuta and Elvin Evans in there. They're looking at onboards and reviewing videos, checking pace notes, doing all that they can. And meanwhile out here it's all systems go on servicing the cars. And I just want to come back to Takamoto. I really would love to see him get on the podium again. This place has been so good to him in the past, and after what happened to him in Sweden when that rally win was on the cards, I just want to see consistent podiums for him now. He's one of the most popular guys in the service park. He's a top lad.
Yeah, I think he'll want that very much as well. Okay, well, WRC2, the battle is on. Gus Greensmith has the advantage on that battle at the moment. Now, of course, Gus down in that media zone a bit earlier on as well, so let's head down and have a listen in with Bex Williams.
Gus, I have to say you're my hero this morning, not because you're doing what you're doing ill, which I fully appreciate, but you had a wasp in the car on the last stage, buzzing around you and Jonas, not distracted by that at all. So I bow down to your superior nature. How are you feeling?
I thought it can't possibly get worse, so I was convinced that I wasn't going to get stung. But yeah, for sure, it was a bit of a surprise when halfway through the stage it appeared. But yeah, thankfully it didn't sting us.
Thank goodness. Now, I know you've been under the weather. You said you had a little bit more energy today. I have to say, the sparkle's back in your eye today, so you're absolutely on the mend.
I wouldn't say that. No, definitely not.
It's still affecting you then, yeah. And they're challenging stages, you know. The amount of concentration you have to have anyway, maximise that by 10, 11, 12, 100 here.
It's mostly in the fast sections, just where like really struggling with hydration or dehydration at the moment. As soon as it gets rough and bumpy, I'm just really struggling to see the road. So having to take it a bit easy, not to make any mistakes. But we had a really big lead, so I've tried to use that as much as I can, just to allow myself a little bit of room for error. And once we're happy, we've done a pass, then yeah, this afternoon we can go a bit harder. And yeah, not really bothered if we lose more time, but just manage it a bit more.
Wise words. Difficult stages, especially Sleeping Warrior. The new end section seems particularly rocky.
Yeah, for sure. The really slow section has a lot of things that you can hit and break. And then, yeah, the last part, yeah, again, very, very tricky. Yeah, it's a very, very difficult 3 stages today. And then, yeah, this afternoon will be the same again.
Good luck out there.
Thank you.
Williams and the wildlife again, this time with a wasp. Okay, well, Gus, as Bex was trying to get to, feeling better, but he says not. I saw Dad walking down there, just trying to give him a few, you know, remedies, some of the old-fashioned remedies, a bit of a fizzy drink without the fizz in it. Yeah,
the issue that Gus has got is an upset stomach, so he's finding it really hard to remain hydrated, basically, Kiri. You know, what's going in is coming out fairly quickly. That's a polite way of putting it. So he is finding it difficult to stay hydrated, and it's so important here because, as we know, it gets so hot.
So that's on our screen. Sorry, just a button. Oitanak on our screens now. Oh, he's got to get his head back in the game, hasn't he?
Well, yeah, but I mean, as I said, the damage has already been done. It's tomorrow that he's really got to get stuck in, isn't it? He's, you know, this afternoon, he's got to go out and get round.
What could get worse? Let's say that.
Yeah, I mean, like, I wouldn't say getting his head in the game is because I think it's already there. Tomorrow is when there's big pressure on him to try and score points. But yeah, for me, for Oitanak this afternoon, get round, keep the car straight, don't give the mechanics or the engineers, you know, a big service tonight. You know, make sure the car is comes back in relative one piece. Come up with a plan tomorrow, stick to it, but he has to. I think it's tomorrow that he really needs to be in the game and wring the neck of that Hyundai and draw every single ounce of performance out of it as he can.
Well, we just skip back to that, but just talking WRC2 again, what can Oliver do from the place that he's at? Obviously, it's a significant difference. It's dropped down a bit. It was 3 minutes earlier on this morning. Now it's 2:25, I think. So there's a big gap, but Oliver, again, is sort of what everybody's doing, just getting through and not making any errors and waiting.
Yeah, it's been a game of two halves for Oliver so far, hasn't it? I mean, he was. You can see there. You go 2 minutes 22. The difference between Gus Greensmith and Oliver Solberg with Kajtanovic in third. But look, I think just coming back to what you were saying, Kiri, for Oliver, you know, when he started out of the rally, he was doing everything he could to avoid punctures and picked up 2. Now he's going hell for leather and he's not picking up any punctures. So he needs to stick to that strategy. But I think if Gus can manage his illness, he's a bit poorly, I think it will be difficult for Oliver to catch Gus on pace alone, assuming nothing happens. But if something happens, if Gus picks up a puncture, that gap will come down very, very quickly. But on pace alone, I think it's a big ask for Oliver.
Yeah, all right. Well, it's Gus, Oliver and Kaito who are 1, 2, 3 in the WRC2. Of course, we'll be keeping you up to date with everything that's going on in the WRC2 over the afternoon as well. Well, that went quickly indeed. Oit is back out. It does look like the rain has pretty much eased off here. Does that mean it's moving to the stages? The drivers also, before they got here, something that we mentioned on a bit earlier on actually, is that they go through this little zone where they can do autograph signing, and that's at a place called the Buffalo Mall. Just take a look at this because it just gives you an idea of how many fans are here. That's Thierry and Esa-Pekka, but the fans just absolutely love this. It is one of the most popular events that we come to in terms of fans. They're fence climbing. It's all go. Taka handing out his signed cards as well. Karan on the pair there, just giving the fans a little bit of a taste of his signed cards.
Yeah, we saw these nice images coming in earlier as well, didn't we? And it is so nice, Kiri, for our sport to give something back, and you know, and the fans, they love it. They absolutely love it, you know. And we've been giving out free hats and all sorts of stuff, and everybody's become. It really has felt like one big community. We've been made so welcome here, and to see these pictures are lovely. It's so nice to see, and I said, as I say, I think it's really important that we give something back.
Yeah, I'm absolutely loving it, as they are out on the stages as well. Just gives you an idea of this mad atmosphere, rain or shine. This place just buzzes. It just has a vibe like no other. So we're heading out into the afternoon. The rain comes, this is going to be one to watch, isn't it?
Yeah, absolutely, and I hope it does. I really hope the biblical rain that we have seen here moves,
sweeps across. What was the heavenly rain?
I don't know. That's a long discussion and not for now. But I really hope that it does come later.
Okay, so Chenny, you're looking at stage 11, 12 and 13. Sleeping Warrior, the last of those, which will be 13. Will it be lucky for some? 2:30, 3:30 and 4:30. 6:15, back in the media zone. Will Kalle Rothenperez still be leading our rally? Will Gus Greensmith still be leading WRC2? All the questions and all the answers on the way. It is about an hour and so before we get to that stage, so 2:30 local time. These cars have got to head out to the stages, so it's a road section that they've got to do, and then we'll be ready for a bit more action.
Yeah, and if this morning was anything to go by, I think it's going to be really atrocious, very, very difficult. We've seen punctures. I'm sure we'll see more this afternoon, but I really, really hope, Kiri, that the weather just throws a little spanner in the works. We love a bit of drama, and yeah, for me, I'd like to see a bit more rain, particularly on Sleeping Warrior, because it's a real test for the drivers and the cars.
How many more issues can we have this afternoon. Pretty much everything that could happen happened. So, yeah, it's endless possibilities of what drama could unfold.
Yeah, of course. It's a long, long day today. It's a long afternoon as well. And as I said, if the weather does turn up, it'll get very, very interesting indeed.
Okay, are you ready for this? Not long to wait now until we head back out into the afternoon loop here in Kenya. Rain pouring down in the service park. Will it reach the stages? There's plenty of time for that to happen. So make sure you stick with us for all of the afternoon's action. It's goodbye for now.
When it comes time for us to be intimate, will it be the three of us?
Yeah.
I'm in.